What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. On this week's set of figure reviews, we are gonna take a look at pretty much the majority of what I've got from the Godzilla vs. Kong Playmates line. And here you can see we got quite the selection here, but for today, gonna break it down first on the Godzillas, and then for tomorrow's video, it will be about the Kongs, and for Thursday, it'll be about the rest of the figures that we have not gone over, which would be the Warbats, Skullcrawlers, and featuring Mechagodzilla. Without further ado, let's go ahead and take a closer look at Godzilla. Alright, so first up to compare, as I said before, we're going to be taking first look at Godzilla from the Godzilla vs. Kong Playmates line. And to start off, let's go ahead and take a look at the Playmates Godzilla with Heat Ray. And reason why I'm doing it a little bit differently this time on the reviews, well, for one, for the Godzillas, well, for most of the figures that, well, I should just say mainly between Godzilla, Kong, and Mechagodzilla, they pretty much have the same type of mold of a figure as far as the shape, but the only difference that they have is the appearance. So for example, for Godzilla here, this is the Godzilla with Heat Ray, and with it comes with the Heat Ray effect that you can just slide in, and there you have it. Godzilla with Heat Ray. And then I believe he also does come with another accessory. I'm not too sure on which one it was. If it was like a helicopter or a heave, but those I'll get to probably toward the end of the third video on Thursday. But for now, just a little sneak peek of what I'm talking about here. Here we got the heave and a little, not really a helicopter, but another form of a flying transportation that they've used in the movie. But as far as the difference on this figure goes, would be that it's much more darker. It has more of noticeable translucent dorsal plates right here, but unfortunately does not continue as it progresses all the way down, and neither does the paint job either, as it also stops right here and doesn't really continue moving on. As far as with the eyes, they are painted blue with a black pupil, and the mouth, well, yeah, pinkish tongue and white teeth. And then for the claws on his hands and on the toes, they are like a it's kind of tough to say, either between Like if you were to take, to me, it looks like if you would take gray and then like maybe a light brown together, and then that's what you get. And then it does have, for the feel of the figure, detailing of like Godzilla's scaly body. And with these figures, for Godzilla, for instance, he comes with some battle damage that you can remove a piece at his chest. Go ahead and take that off. And there we have it. Godzilla with battle damage. And there's a lot of red in there. And then to put it back on, just go ahead, place it back, same way. And there we have it. Now, as far as with the articulation of this figure here, hold on one moment. Okay. So, as far as I was saying with the articulation of the figure, with the hands here, just gotta be careful. And yep, you can rotate them all the way around. And as for the legs here, can't really go all the way back. And here is pretty much as far as with both legs. That's as far as you could really take them on each side. So the legs do have limits as far as how far back you can rotate them. Now with the tail, you can swivel it all the way around, and you can swivel it side to side. But yeah, more or less you get the point here. Okay, so now I'm going to take a look at the Godzilla with radio tower, and just a little fun fact for you guys. So when the release of these figures was announced, and of course with the ongoing delay after delay of the movie Godzilla vs. Kong, so with these two figures, they came out in 2020 with the first wave of other figures as well. And last year in 2021, pretty much everything else came out. So for as far as with the Godzillas, these are a few of the two that came out in the first wave of Playmates Godzilla vs. Kong. And here you can definitely see the difference here. And this guy right here on the right is painted much similarly to the way how the giant Godzilla is painted, and he's more of a light blue color. And the eyes here on this figure, Godzilla with radio tower, they are orange with the black pupil, and pretty much the same thing with what's going on with the tongue and the teeth. But unfortunately, with the one I have here, you can definitely see the paint job issue as far as with the way how his teeth are. And as far as with the claws on the Godzilla with radio tower, they are painted a much more, I would say, kind of similar to what I said before on the claws on this Godzilla figure. So I guess a even lighter color, but this one I'd say much more recognizable as a shade of gray. And here he does not have translucent dorsal plates on his back, but rather just blue painted dorsal plates. And of course, it does not finish all the way to the tip of the tail. And like most of the Playmates figures, they all have the battle damage. And here, again, the red on his chest. These things are always tricky to put back on, but kind of seem easy when you gotta take them off. But nonetheless, there you go. It's back on. And neat thing about that, even though that this guy comes with this, the radio tower, and if you wanted to, yep. Oh. If you wanted to, you could put it in the hand of Godzilla, and there you go. As far as where Godzilla used a radio tower in the movie, it's a little unclear. But obviously we know it was just an accessory to come with the figure itself. But also another neat thing that they kept, since again, like I said before, that they're all pretty much the same standard mold for Godzilla, that the neat thing is underneath on the top of his jaw underneath, you can also insert, if you have an atomic beam or heat ray, that can also go for this Godzilla as well. And before I forget, because I just realized this now, that, okay, last thing is that with the mouth, it can close all the way, and it can open as far as you can see there. And then with the head, I mean, I don't want to risk it twisting it all the way around, because it seems like it's like it feels rubbery at the head, and the more I twist it, I feel like it's going to rip from whatever it's attached to. So I mean, you can try pivoting it to make them look in a certain way for however long you can make it stay. So I mean, it can stay like looking like that, twisted a little bit. And now, this unique guy here, we got the Hong Kong battle version of Godzilla. And here he's consisting of colors of purple, blue, and black. And a lot of translucent areas on his body. So that consist of on the head, his chest, the arms, the legs, well, mostly at the bottom of the tail, and I guess partially too on his dorsal plates. And as far as with the battle damage on this figure, which blends in pretty well, but noticeable because of the red underneath. Well, maybe not too noticeable, but if you go from at a certain angle, you can see a little bit of red there. And again, pretty much the same thing as far as articulation and the shape and molds of the Godzilla figure. Okay, so as I said before, gonna take doing the reviews for this week a little bit differently here. And before we conclude, I'm going to show you guys one more that's shaped a little bit differently, and that is the Godzilla with the fighter jets. And of course, that can go into Godzilla's hand, and obviously with this Godzilla, he's pretty much molded differently, but still, as far as the texture and feel of the figure, is pretty similar with the other three. But as far as with the mold of the figure, the tail is a little bit shorter, but it can swivel. And he does have translucent, mostly translucent dorsal plates, like the other translucent Godzilla with heat ray. And he's shaped oddly different to where either looking up or looking like this. And of course, you can also open the mouth. And the head is definitely smaller than the way how the other Godzilla's heads are. And as far as with rotating the head or neck right here, I should say, can't really move it as it's just in place the way how it is. And as far as with rotating the figure, arms can rotate all the way around. With the legs, they do have their limits of how far back they can go and how far forward they can also go as well. Okay. And now, gonna be bringing in some final special figures here. And ta-da! So in other words, pretty much this is just a custom painted Godzilla that I did on the mold of the figure, and I think this one, trying to remember, I think this one, because I also have another one to show you guys. This one I think I painted over of the Hong Kong battle version of Godzilla. Like I took one of those and repainted it to look like this. Still debating if I want to finish repainting or just leave it like that. But I guess I'll see, as time moves on. And that's pretty much progress I've made on this repaint so far. It did look like something else previously, and I didn't like how that turned out, so this is kind of like the second version of the same figure that I've repainted, but didn't really get a chance to show anybody what it first looked like, but I felt like this one was a little bit better initially when I first painted it. And now, finally, last but not least, here we have dun dun another custom painted Godzilla figure, and this one is painted from this version of Godzilla with Heat Ray. I used that mold of that version of the figure and repainted it to look like this. And without further ado, it lights up too. If that wasn't kind of obvious. Yeah, I had the idea of doing that because I kept seeing other people similarly utilize lights with their figures, so I thought I'd give it a go, and this is what I came up with for this figure. And here's what it looks like once it's lit up in the light, but of course there's kind of a little bit too much light, but you get the point. But yeah, everyone, that's gonna be pretty much it for this figure review. And then just for the heads up, there's nothing gonna be really much at the end of this video, so I'll have something prepared for next Monday, as mainly this is just gonna be reviewing the figures itself. And if you're still interested to seeing what I will come up with for next Monday, just know it'll make up for not really including much of an ending toward the end of these today through Thursday's reviews. Kind of just felt more that it would kind of just be, a little bit more easier to just get through them, since, let's be honest, all these Godzilla figures, mostly, they look all the same, so just kind of like getting through them and then see what happens along the way for either an ending on one of the videos, or, like I said, if nothing comes up for an ending this week, then you'll see what I come up with on next Monday. But yeah, that has been a review for the Godzilla figure from Playmates 2021 from Godzilla vs. Kong. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you will stay tuned for the next video. And don't forget to subscribe to the Fierce Zilla.